Genshin widely expounded the Buddha's lifetime teachings. Yet, he took refuge in the land of peace, urging others to do the same. Discerning that single-minded practice is profound, sundry practice is shallow, he differentiated the respective births, in the fulfilled or transformed lands. Extremely evil persons should just say the Buddha's name. Who has already grasped and embraced me? Though blind passions have obscured my eyes and I cannot see, great compassion is untiring and constantly illumines me. These beautiful verses, from the Gattu of True Faith, were composed by Venerable Master Shinran, with deep reverence and gratitude, to Master Genshin. They precisely capture the essential teachings carefully expounded by this great lineage teacher of the true Pure Land school. Thus, this sixth lineage master of Jodo Shinshu, clearly understood the true intent for Shakyamuni Buddha's appearance in this world. He emphasized that, in this degenerated age, all persons are badly overwhelmed by the deep-rooted afflictions of greed, hatred, ignorance, doubt and arrogance. Most of us are therefore, bound for the non-virtuous, painful realms of hell beings, hungry ghosts and animals, which are the three lowest realms of samsara, the vicious cycle of birth, suffering and death. Earnestly, in his superb expositions, Master Genshin tells us to listen deeply, first, to the Buddha Dharma in general, and then, the Dharma of salvation, specially created by Amida Buddha, for all badly defiled, suffering beings. He fervently encourages all foolish evil persons, like ourselves, to entrust ourselves single-mindedly to Amida Buddha's vow power, by accepting his great practice of saying his name. Namo Amida Butsu. The above sincere advice from Master Genshin arose from his thorough understanding of the Buddha Dharma, and deep personal realizations. He knew that it would be impossible for human beings, in this Dharma-ending age, to perform meditative and non-meditative practices, struggling in vain to gain enlightenment, with their own self-power. If we honestly look into ourselves, we would surely see that the enormous amount of negative karma, constantly being created by us in our daily lives, vastly outweighed the small merits we obtain from doing good practices, which therefore cannot, in any way, cause our freedom from samsara. Furthermore, our shallow spiritual aptitude, pathetic behavior, and utter arrogance, would certainly drag us into the three lowest, dreadful realms of samsara. Master Genshin, 942 to 1017, the abbot of Ishin Temple on Mount Hiei, Kyoto, was born in Yamato, Japan, present-day Nara Prefecture, during the reign of Emperor Murakami. At the request of his dying father, his pious mother sent him to Mount Hiei, Kyoto, when he was only 7 years old, to learn Buddhism from Ryogen. At the age of 13, he took up full monastic precepts, and was then given the Buddhist name Genshin. Being exceedingly studious, intelligent and eloquent, his lecture on the Lotus Sutra so greatly impressed the emperor, that he was appointed as court lecturer, even though he was only 15 years old. The young scholar, thinking how that recognition would please his mother, promptly sent the royal gifts from the emperor to his mother. But his mother was not pleased, fearing that he would be carried away by his early success. She severely rebuked him, saying, "The idea of your leaving home was, that you might enter the way of true enlightenment, and not to gain profit, and make a name for yourself." She added a little verse which reads, "I thought you would become a bridge to connect this world with the next, but I am sad to find that you are only a monk of this world." After that admonishment from his mother, the young monk became even more zealous in his studies. Withdrawing himself almost completely from the world at large, as well as associations with fellow monks, it is said that he read through the entire Buddhist canon 5 times, so that he might find true enlightenment. That arduous study retreat, to obtain a thorough understanding of the Buddha Dharma, however, turned out to be Master Genshin's foundation for writing the Ojo Yoshu, collected essays on birth in the Pure Land. This masterpiece work collects the core teachings that persistently urged and showed the way on how ignorant human beings could easily obtain enlightenment through birth in Amida Buddha's Pure Land. The Ojo Yoshu, a celebrated Pure Land exposition, completed in the year 985, is basically Master Genshin's exhortation to foolish persons like us, to seek immediately, for the only path now available, so that we can quickly get out of this fearful samsara. He vividly describes the impermanence and polluted nature of our human life, and the 3 lowest realms of pain and torture, particularly the horrors of hell, where almost all of us are now headed. Compassionately writing this wonderful treatise, he strongly urged us to make our escape from samsara with utmost urgency, by following the Pure Land way, before it is too late. As mentioned in the preceding passage, the most notable and poignant aspect of the Ojo Yoshu, collected essays on birth in the Pure Land, is the lengthy, detailed description of the unimaginable torture and extreme horror experienced by beings in the polluted, desire realms of samsara, especially the 3 lower realms of hell beings, hungry ghosts and animals. This is in complete contrast with the peaceful and pleasurable environment experienced by residents of Amida's Pure Land. Thus, Master Genshin wants to spur us on, to aspire immediately, for birth in Sukhavati, the land of peace and happiness. Throughout his life, Master Genshin had maintained an outward appearance as a monk and scholar of the Tendai sect, having wrote many books on that school. Yet, he deeply professed his faith in the saving grace of Amida Buddha, encouraging others to do the same. His meticulous collection of the core teachings and expositions on the Pure Land way have set the compassionate tone, both in Japan and in China, for the multitudes to entrust themselves fully in Amida Buddha's great compassionate vow. At the age of 76, Master Genshin left his mortal self, and returned to the Pure Land. He has left behind a wonderful literature, passing down to fortunate persons like us, the precious Nembutsu teaching, the soul lamp, lighting the path of salvation, in this Dharma-ending age of spiritual darkness. The true Pure Land Dharma specially taught by Master Genshin, was the sole interest of Master Shinran, as it directly revealed the wonderful working of Amida Buddha's universal vow of boundless compassion. The teaching of Master Genshin, essential to Jodo Shinshu, is that mundane foolish persons like us, who are firmly controlled by stubborn blind passions, and possessed with the lowest spiritual aptitude, should rely entirely on Amida's primal vow, for their salvation. He strongly discouraged the performance of meditative and non-meditative practices by ordinary foolish persons, as these are hard practices not in accord with their poor spiritual abilities. Master Genshin also admonishes us against self-power practices, dedicated for our births in the Pure Land, as these are shallow practices of doubt, that can only cause us to be born in a transformed land. Thus, he encourages us to entrust ourselves fully in the primal vow without any doubt, and be assured of our births in the true Buddha land. The primal vow is Amida Buddha's absolute promise to save all miserable persons, like ourselves, who are incapable to perform any spiritual practice. Thus, abandoning all self-power practices, and single-heartedly relying on this vow of great compassion, is now the only option available to us, if getting out of samsara at the end of this life is indeed our goal. Persons with entrusting faith in the primal vow are truly settled in their minds and hearts, knowing that their attainments of Buddhahood are now guaranteed, while they are still living out this precious life in mortal flesh. Entrusting mind, shinjin, on our part, the persons to be saved, is our faith mind consciousness that fully accepts the primal vow. It comes about with the awareness that we are evil beings, who have been transmigrating from the beginningless past, with absolutely no possibility of escape from this vicious cycle of relentless pain and suffering. Therefore, we accept Amida Buddha's primal vow, that firmly embraces us and that its vow power absolutely guarantees our births in the Pure Land. Thus, in deep gratitude for the inconceivable compassion of the Buddha, for saving hopeless persons like us, we say the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Listening deeply to the true Pure Land expositions of Master Shinran, and the wonderful teachings from Master Genshin, on the relevance and significance of single-minded reliance on saying the Buddha's name, all ordinary foolish persons like us should take heed of the sincere advice from these accomplished teachers. May all suffering persons abandon all self-power meditative and non-meditative practices, and aspire for birth in Sukhavati, by entrusting their karmic destiny entirely to Amida Buddha and the primal vow. The Buddha's infinite merits and virtues are bestowed equally on all beings. May all accept Amida's gift of shinjin, and obtain birth in his land of peace and bliss. Clearly knowing that we are saved and constantly being protected by the light of boundless compassion, we gratefully say Amida's name,